Hello, my name is Dr. Lipchuk, and I'm going to give you a brief introduction to our chemistry class today. Just an introduction to myself first. I grew up in Maryland, but over on the Eastern Shore side in Dorchester County. And then after high school, I went to McDaniel College in Westminster, not too far from here, and got my Bachelor of Arts in Chemistry. After that, I went on to get my Master's of Science and my PhD in Biophysical Chemistry at Yale University, and then I did a couple of years of scientific research in biochemistry and genetics at a company in Philadelphia. And then after that, I started teaching high school at a private school over on the Eastern Shore. I was there for about 8 years and then moved here to Frederick County last year. And this is my second year here at Tuscarora and my 10th year teaching chemistry in general. So over the years, I've really developed what I consider to be a good philosophy for teaching chemistry. I like inquiry-based learning, and I will ask you a lot of questions in order to help you learn things. I like a lot of hands-on learning, so we will do lots of labs, use lots of manipulatives and things like that. I try to make relevant connections to things that you would encounter in your everyday lives and hopefully make chemistry relevant for you. And then because chemistry is not something we can see, we use a lot of models and simulations in this class. And then finally, the thing I'm going to talk to you probably most about in this video is blended learning, which is using technology to personalize learning. So to be able to meet you where you are and to give you the best use of me as a resource, we're going to be using technology. All right, so this is all listed in your syllabus as well, but you should bring with you to class each day either earbuds or headphones that can connect to your Chromebook. I do have some here in the classroom that you can use. Paper, and then either pen or pencil to work on. A 1-inch binder, or at a minimum a folder. I do recommend the binder though, to help keep your notes organized. A calculator that can at least do exponents. And again, I have some here in the classroom that you can use, but if you have any work to do outside of the classroom, your cell phone is really not a very good tool for that. So a scientific calculator. And then every day your Chromebook and the charger, because by the time you get to me, it might not be charged and you want to have a way to charge it if necessary. All right, so let's talk about how my classroom is structured. So I've been experimenting with blended learning for probably 7 or 8 years at this point, so that is not new to me, but this year I've introduced some self-paced structures to allow students to move at their own pace. And I've also introduced mastery-based grading, which basically means that because our content builds, you need to master what I've taught you in one lesson before you move on to the next lesson, where you might be expected to use some of that information. So this has a couple of benefits. Everything is posted on my Schoology page, so your instructional materials are always available to you, so you can work at your own pace and learn at your own pace. And you can always then go back. If you were absent, you should be able to easily access the lecture for that day, even if you weren't in class to hear me talk about it. Or if you just, you can't remember what we talked about, you have those resources available to you all the time to go back and review before a test or before moving on to a new concept, or, if it's content you need as prerequisite knowledge to move on to the next thing. And then also, everything is clearly outlined in terms of your goals and your objectives for the unit, so you should always know exactly what I'm expecting you to know for a given topic and where to find the resources to master that topic. All right, so common misconceptions with this. I am not expecting you to teach yourself. I am still here in the classroom every day and will be making my way around the room to answer questions and work with people in small groups as they need additional help. So just because I'm introducing topics via video does not mean I expect you to learn everything that way, or that I expect you to figure it out on your own if you didn't get something from the video. All right, so that is a starting point for your learning, but we learn by being exposed to things in multiple ways over time, and so I do not expect that you will teach yourself everything, but I do expect that that is where you will start. And another common misconception is that you'll be sitting in front of your computer all the time, and that's definitely not true. We still do lots of hands-on stuff, lots of collaboration, lots of labs. So while some of the content will be delivered via video, and we will do activities online, that is not how you will spend all of your time in my classroom. All right, so general setup for the course. So some of you may have already noticed that we have a personal tracker at the top of the unit in Schoology. Some of you I can see have already opened it, but if you haven't, that's okay. All right, so each time we have a new unit, I usually start with some sort of introductory activity. Yesterday it was the Lego icebreaker that we did. All right, in the second column, you will see either you must do, which is most of the things, all right, most of what we cover in the class you need to learn, right? There are sometimes activities that we do that if you're absent, I won't necessarily force you to make them up. So for example, if you weren't here on the first day, I'm not going to make you come in and do a Lego icebreaker during flex, all right? So the should do assignments are things that you should do if you are here in class, but could possibly be skipped if you miss class for some reason. Okay, and then sometimes, not in this particular unit, but sometimes there will be aspire to do assignments. These could be assignments that extend the lesson that you do have to do, or they could be sort of enrichment lessons if you're moving at a faster pace than the rest of the class. And I'll touch on those as we get to those in future units, all right? And now this, everybody has one of these, so here it tells you if you have to do it or not have to do it, and then for your status, there's a check down box, all right? If you're working on something, you can change it to in progress, or you can just change it to complete when you're finished, and the box will turn green once it's done. All right, for most of our lessons, we will have a mastery check at the end. So for our first lesson that we did yesterday, it was just kind of checking boxes. You need to read the syllabus, you need to do the introduction form, and you need to complete the pretest. There's no mastery check for that to make sure that you've understood everything. But sometimes there will be. So at the end of this lesson, you'll have a quiz and a self-reflection, all right? And then this particular one will be self-graded in Schoology. So once you've passed it, passed being at least an 80%, you can change the not ready to passed, all right? And then each each lesson within the unit is color-coded here, you can see. And you will see that same color-coding structure in Schoology. So each unit will have a folder, all right? All of the stuff from yesterday that we did is in the red folder, all right? If you look, the next thing is the Introduction to the Modern Classroom, which is just one name for this instructional model that we're using. That's all in yellow, and you will find all of those materials in the yellow folder on Schoology, okay? So hopefully it should be very clear to you where to find the stuff that you need for each of your lessons. And then the last component is the public progress tracker, all right? So you will each choose a magnet that has an element on it. That will be your magnet with your element. I will keep track of them just in case you forget, but nobody else in the class needs to know which magnet is yours, all right? And then for each lesson, you will put your magnet in the box for the lesson that you are currently working on. So this picture is from a different unit, but everybody right now would be in the first box because that's where we're working. After you've completed the pretest and the introduction form, you can move your magnet to the second box. And then once you've completed the mastery check for the class setup and whatever, you can then move it to the third box. All right, so you will be responsible for moving your magnet on the public tracker. This gives you an idea of where you are relative to the other students in the class, and this will be for both sections of the class that I teach. But it is not meant to be a way to shame you or to make you feel bad if you're falling behind, if you've been absent or something like that, but just to give you a sense of where you should be. And then I use my Tuscarora magnet to tell you where you should be by the end of the class. That is your target for the end of the day. So by the end of the day today, everyone hopefully will have finished the mastery check on our course setup and have moved on to putting their magnet in the third box, ready for the lesson for tomorrow. All right. As we get moving in our content-based units, you will have the opportunity to work ahead. Usually I have all of the resources for the unit posted, so you can sometimes work ahead in order to work at your own pace, which would allow you to then get to some of those enrichment activities at the end of the unit if you're mastering material and getting things faster than the pace that I've set. All right, so how can you be successful in this class? I've tried to lay out all of the expectations very clearly, but it always starts with whatever video or sometimes instructional slides or Pear Decks or whatever that I have posted for a particular unit, right? So you should always start with those and make a very honest effort to understand using the video. So don't be afraid to pause or rewind if necessary, right? Just like in class, if you didn't understand something, you might ask me to repeat something. You have the ability to have me repeat that in the video by just going back and re-listening, okay? You can change the speed, the playback speed for the videos, right? So if you think I'm going too slow, you can speed it up if that helps sustain your attention better. But you can also slow it down if I'm talking too fast, okay? Take detailed notes. So if I do a practice problem, write down the steps, and if you need to, write a note about why I did a particular step or where I got a particular value from, okay? Don't just write down the answer at the end. That's not going to help you figure out how to do the problem when you go back and are doing practice later, all right? Use your peers. I know that with the public tracker, you can't see who is at a particular place, all right? But you can go around and is anybody else on lesson 3, I have a question about this. Have you gotten there yet? Okay. And then also use me. I shouldn't necessarily be your first resource that you go to, but I'm definitely here as a resource. So don't struggle without asking for help. All right. And I'm happy to pull you for flex. I'm here every day after school until at least 2:45, and I can work with you after school as long as I don't have a meeting. So use me and use your peers and all of the online resources that I provide in order to be successful.